lesson. We're mostly going to be focusing on how to build simple UIs, responsive UIs, using HTML and tailwind CSS. So if you are not familiar with HTML and CSS, you might want to go and read a little bit about it and get familiar with it. But I'll try and explain, and feel free to ask any questions so we can go into more details. Okay, so we're using Tailwind CSS, so you can go to tailwindcss.com and basically read about it. So what Tailwind helps us to do is it helps us to write high-level CSS. So we're going to focus on practical learning, just basically learning by doing. So first of all, we are going to try to replicate what we have here. We want to create this kind of buttons. So let's head over to our HTML page. So you can create a file and name it whatever you like, but it should be a name.html. For this purpose, you can use buttons.html, open it in your file editor, and you can most editors come with a shortcut where if you type the exclamation key and tab, it will give you a template for an HTML page. It's basically like a template. Most or all HTML pages have these, so you can come here to start writing our code. Okay. But for the sake of this, I'll prefer to use what Tailwind already has here. If you go over to Play CDN section in the installation page, then you can just copy this code and we can use this. So what this one does is it gives us the same basic skeleton of an HTML page, but it also adds a CSS script to this Tailwind CSS library, and then we can start using it straight away. So let's replace all of this with that, and if we save it we can run this. I'm going to be using my editor to run it, but if you want to, you can simply click on that and it will open on your browser. Okay, so we have hello world here, but we want to have some buttons, so let's start with this group of buttons. So we can have our button tag, and we can have a button text. So and we can use the class attribute to add class names. So if you head over to Tailwind CSS, you can go to the colors section. Colors, let's search for color, text color. Let's search for background color. So we want a background color that looks like this. This looks like purple. Let's see what purple is. Okay, so I think this looks close enough. Oh no, it's kind of bluish. So let's go with this BG Indigo 600. So you can copy this class. Basically what this class does is it writes this CSS for us in the background. If you're familiar with CSS, then you will know what this does. It gives the background color to a tag or an element. So let's add that to this, and if we come back here, we can see that we have a button with that color as our background. So let's go ahead to change the color. Let's say we want text white, and if you save it, you can see, and let's give it a padding of 5 pixels, or let's make it 3 pixels. Let's make it 2 pixels. Let's make the border rounded. So let's say rounded. Let's go rounded, and let's give it some margin out on the side so that it's not too close to the edge. And let's say margin 5. Okay, and so we have a button that looks almost like this one or this one. So for the sake of this exercise, let's not worry about making duplicates all over the place. Let's just make one. So I think this is good enough. Let's make the text a bit smaller and give it more padding to the side. So we can say px4 and text small. So I encourage you to go over this documentation and see all the different combinations that we have. Let me go over some of them that I've used here. So first was the background indigo 600, which gave us this background, and then we added text white. We changed the text to white. Let me show you where you can find it. You can press the slash to open the search toolbar, and let's search for text color. And here we can see the classes available for tailwind. Text this, text that, different colors of text basically, and we used text white. Next we have padding. We use P2 px4, so let's search for padding. Alright, so these are all the available classes. P0 px, so px basically means you should pad left and pad right, basically pad horizontally, and then py means padding vertically. If you don't know what padding is, you should go and read about box model. I'll show you shortly, but you should read about it. Box model talks about the padding, the margin, the border, the height and the width of HTML elements. Okay, so basically we simply said pad P2, meaning pad. I'll show you guys what it means, but P2, if you see here, it means padding 0.5 rem, which 0.5 rem is a unit in for the padding, but it translates to 8 pixels. So let me show you another one, text SM. So let's search for that. Let's say font size. So we can see the different font sizes: text extra small, text base, text large, and so on. So we use text small, which gives us these two CSS attributes: font size as this, line height as this. And then we used rounded. Let me show you guys that one. Alright, so we have rounded. Rounded gives us the border radius as follows. So we simply used the base one, which gives us this border radius. So let me show you guys one more thing before we move on. If you on your browser, if you right click and you click on inspect, you can see your developer console that allows you to look to look at the background behind the scenes to see what's really happening on your web page. So if you have this here, you can click around to see. If you look closely, you will see that this matches. Okay, ignore this one. You can see that this matches what we have here. We have the doc type, and then we have the head, and then we have our scripts, our tags. We have this button text right here, button text, everything. So basically, this is what the web page renders when it opens our page. So if you click on button, you can see that the classes we've added apply CSS styles to our page. So if you see the text white, it adds the color. If I was to click on this, for instance, and I remove text white, you can see the effect it has here. So see, text white, margin 5, it gives us a margin. Padding gives us a padding. PX horizontally. Text SM, the border radius, you can see them px4, p2, you can see the background, rounded, margin. And then I was talking about something the other time called the box model. So basically this is the box model for you, meaning every element you have on your page has is described by the box model, meaning the element has the dimension itself, the width and the height. It also has the padding. It also has a border. In this case, we don't have any border defined here, but more on that later on. It also has the margin, which we set as M5. M5 translates to 20 pixels. Then P2 translates to 8 pixels padding. Then PX4 translates to horizontal padding of 16 pixels. And then what else? Yeah, so basically that's what the box model is all about. Please read about it. Yes, so in my next video we'll be going over the rest of these buttons.